As we noted at the top of the show tonight, it is tomorrow already in Baghdad because of the time difference. In Iraq, the handover to mark the end of Operation Iraqi Freedom is taking place today. Today. I want to introduce you to someone I met in Baghdad when I was there about a week and a half ago as the last U.S. combat brigade was pulling out.
I'm leaving to United States University.
Oh, really?
2 months. So.
Where are you going?
Oh, I don't know yet, but maybe. I got too many friends in New York. Los Angeles and some other places.
Have you ever lived there before? Your accent is perfect.
Oh, I was coming to you to apologize. You know, I'm not that good in English.
No, you're really good. No, I've talked to a lot of different people and worked with a lot of different translators.
I'm
really
still
good.
working, you know.
Yeah.
Get better.
No, you sound like you're from New Jersey.
Really?
Yeah, it's good.
Thanks.
Do you know where you're moving to or anything?
Well, I got friends in North Carolina and Washington, Seattle, not D.C.
Yeah.
New York, and you know, I'm still not deciding yet.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. Where can I find a job? Actually, I'm going to know.
Have you worked around the sort of security contractors in the military? Have you been doing translating and stuff for years here?
Yeah, I've been doing this job for 7 years. So.
Yeah. Is it dangerous?
Very. I was kidnapped.
Were you?
Yeah, back in 2007. I stayed in my kibbutz for 20 days.
Oh my God.
And I got released after I paid $20,000, American dollars, as a ransom.
Your family had to raise $20,000?
Yeah, and also they forced me to abandon my house about 6 times, and it's a disaster. It was a very bad experience, really.
And specifically because you're working with Americans?
Yeah.
Have you had trouble in terms of getting a visa and being able to go to the U.S.?
Well, yeah. Well, the first time, back in 2007, actually in August 2007, I was invited to Jordan, to U.S. Embassy, to make an interview for the special immigrant visa. Yeah. And for some reason, I don't know, they suspected me as a Jordanian citizen, not Iraqi. We had a big fight, actually. I mean, talking, and so the ambassador at that time, he said, no, go back to Iraq and refill again.
Yeah.
So.
But you think that you have hope now?
I got the chief of mission approval, actually.
Oh, good. Okay.
On the 5th of August. I got it. So, hopefully.
Will you be able to bring your family, or you go alone?
Well, I'm planning to take them, all of them. I'm not going to leave them here, but unfortunately, it's to cover all traveling expenses. I mean,
very expensive. Yeah.
Very expensive. I don't know yet. We'll see.
What's your name?
Willie. Walid. I'm in Arabic Walid, but everybody call me Willie.
Willie is right.
Willie.
Yeah. Willie. Well, wow. Thank you. It's good to meet you. Walid, Walid has been kidnapped, held for 20 days, threatened, ransomed, chased out of his house 6 times for committing the grave crime of working with Americans in his own country. He and I spoke a week and a half ago in Baghdad. When I was leaving Iraq, I took this picture of the wacky architecture inside Baghdad's Saddam Hussein International Airport. Actually, I thought it was such a weird-looking place, I took a bunch more photos than this, but I deleted most of them. Deleted them under pressure. Not under pressure from police or guys with guns, but actually just from an Iraqi citizen, a guy who worked at the airport, who I had very carefully avoided getting in any of my pictures, but he was still so worried that the fact that he worked at the airport would be itself enough to put his life in danger if anyone happened to see even a ghost of him in my photo. And he had me delete those photos, and I did. Working at the airport in Iraq is close enough to working with Americans that it threatens your life in Iraq. In 2008, the U.S. government tried to do the right thing to repay Iraqi civilians who had helped us in Iraq and whose lives were in danger because of it. Instead of navigating the notoriously arcane and slow process of applying for refugee status, Iraqi civilians who worked with Americans could apply for a special immigrant visa to be able to come here to safety because their working for us made it impossible for them to be safe at home. It was a very good idea, and it has had bad execution. You heard Walid, in my discussion with him, explain how he first applied for a special immigrant visa in 2007. He still hasn't got it, although he thinks he's on his way. I heard that story again and again and again from Iraqis I spoke with on my trip there, Iraqis who had worked with Americans in some various capacity during our 7.5-year-long war there. They had applied for the special immigrant visa. They were hopeful, but nothing had come through yet. They were all somewhere in the process, and they were happy that the program existed. They knew everything about the program that had been changed in 2008, but they hadn't been able to work it out totally and finalize it yet. And the numbers about this actually tell the tale. This 2008 program for Iraqis who helped us out, that program made available 15,000 visas. 15,000. How many have been given out? Not even 2,200. Meanwhile, thousands of Iraqis, translators like Walid, who you met there, who I told him he sounded like he was from New Jersey, and he took that exactly the right way, which was a total compliment. My girlfriend's from New Jersey. I meant it in a good way. Guys like Walid working as translators, people who worked as translators with contractors, people who worked as translators with trainers, people who worked as translators with troops, fixers, people who worked with Western news organizations, people who did all sorts of work with Americans during the American war in Iraq. Their lives are on the line every day, even though this program exists. Right now, 7 U.S. senators and 15 members of Congress are petitioning the U.S. State Department and the Pentagon to try to fix the problem with these special visas for Iraqis who helped us. The problem with them being held up in pointless red tape. Whatever you think about the war, whatever you thought about the war then or now, we promised these folks that if they helped us, we would keep them safe. Keeping that promise is not about the war. It's about doing the decent thing, keeping our word, trying to make something that is very wrong slightly more right.